Hey there, happy heat wave, everyone. It is June 24th, and I've got the latest statistics for the Portland metro area regarding real estate, and this is for both Oregon and Washington. These are the week-to-week statistics that we watch here in our office. Market activity is still really strong. We sold over 800 homes last week. The same time last year was 782. And last year at this point, the market was really starting to take off. There were folks, there's still a little bit of uncertainty. We're closing deals that went under contract in May, but there was definitely that contingent of agents and sellers and buyers that were really active on the market at that point in May versus what was going on in March and April. So I suspect that we're going to see last year's numbers start to exceed this year's numbers for number of sales. The active listings, we've been saying that for about 3 months now, have been very slowly but reliably, incrementally increasing. The number's been increasing by like 100, 120 listings per week. So the inventory, the supply is increasing very slowly, incrementally, but definitely increasing reliably for about the last 12 weeks or so now. The number right now is just shy of 3,000 active listings, and we have to go back to probably September or so of last year before we find a number that high again. We hit a low in January, and then it started, not January. Hit a low in about March, and then the numbers started to increase since March of 2021. But in order to find that number again last year, we have to go all the way back to September, October, when the numbers were decreasing, week after week after week until we hit that really low point in March. The number of pending deals decreased a little bit, like the total number of pending deals decreased just a little bit. But the new pending transactions, the ones that went under contract last week, still show really strong buyer activity. 1,050 went under contract. The high end of that number, that's the high end of what we've seen over the last 6 months. 1,068, 1,084, I think was the highest number that we saw. 1,088, we did see that, I want to say about 2.5 months ago. So it's in the range of where we want to be as far as buyer activity, showing that it's not waning. That being said, I feel like the pool of potential buyers is getting smaller, even though the activity that we're seeing on the market is staying about the same. That means that in a lot of cases, we're seeing fewer offers on homes, where at the height of the frenzy in February or March of this year, we might have seen 15, 17 offers on a single property that's in a hot neighborhood and ready to go, move in, ready home. Now we're maybe seeing 4 or 5 offers on that same home. In some cases more than that, but it just depends on the property and the neighborhood. But definitely a smaller pool of potential buyers that we're drawing from. The days on market, pretty much the same. Average is 16, the median is 5. Average sale price this year versus last year for that exact same time period, that exact same week, 598,638. So 598,000 this year. Last year, 482,000. So about just shy of 120,000 higher this year versus last year. The average sale price versus the asking price. So you listed at a certain price. What percentage of that asking price did the property sell for? Right now, the average is 104.44. The median is 105.61. So properties are definitely selling for more than the asking price. We did have an interesting graphic that more than 80% of the homes nationally are selling at or above the asking price, which is kind of an astounding thing. So what we think is coming down the line, I believe that in the short term coming up, 4th of July weekend is going to be Deadsville. I think that weekend, starting with the 4th, because the 4th is on Sunday and we're observing it on Monday the 5th. That weekend, maybe starting from that Friday through the shortened work week, the 4-day work week, and the following weekend, I think it's going to be really, really quiet on the market. I don't think we're going to have a lot of listings hit the market, and I don't think we're going to have a lot of buyers and their agents kicking around. showing. Certainly not as much as we typically do. I think we're going to have, people jumping in the car, the RV, on a plane, headed off, satisfying pent-up travel demand. And I think the market's going to be pretty quiet. I'm around. I'm not going anywhere because I always stick around for the holidays. That can be a great opportunity for a frustrated buyer to get something under contract without having to compete with piles and piles of other offers and having to go way up above asking price or give concessions on repairs or appraisal shortfalls and that sort of thing. So it can be a great opportunity for someone who's sticking around. Longer term, I do believe that we're going to have sort of suppressed numbers for January and February. July and August, kind of the height of the summer months, which is typically when things slow down a little bit. And I think there might be some good opportunities for buyers in July and August to get something under contract without as much frustration as they've experienced in the first 2 quarters of this year. But I suspect that things are going to continue on the way they have been, at least for another year. The latest kind of local Oregon-oriented analyst that I saw was saying that the market that we're going to have definitely through next February. And then I've started to see some of the larger analysts that I follow for national numbers saying that, gosh, you know what, we had thought that 2022 might be a year where we're going to contract a little bit on the real estate market. And they're turning around and changing their tune and saying, you know what, the market that we have right now is probably the market we're going to have for the next 2 years, even if interest rates do start to creep up. Although the Fed has mentioned that they don't have any intention of raising the interest rate or touching the interest rates at all for the next couple of cycles. So that's what we got right now. You can click down below for a link to all of the numbers and a kind of a running tally of the numbers that I gave to you. And of course, all real estate is local. If you have a question about what's going on in your condo complex or in your neighborhood, or what the trends are looking at in your price point, if you're in a luxury home or in a starter home or in the interim or something like that, just let me know and I'm happy to pull the numbers for you. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.